Hey, great to have you here. So today we're going to take a look at what was a bit of a surprise drop yesterday with a new Vegeta form coming out. I really feel like they've been digging in deep on the various Vegeta forms recently, so hopefully it doesn't become too watered down, because that tends to be a concern when you neglect a character for a while, then you really focus on them. That may limit the interest overall for that character. I know we get obviously tons of Gokus, and really over the last couple of years they've really ramped up the Vegeta, so hopefully we don't get too much Vegeta fatigue at this point with how much we've gotten of him recently. But either way, we have the release from him, what they're calling Vegeta older style battle clothes. This is essentially Vegeta from the Namek saga, the second half of that, when he's having recovered and he ultimately is facing Frieza at that point. So this is a look that a lot of people have requested for a while. I know they've held off on putting anything out for it. They've bounced around, more focusing on the Cell saga, but as usual, gone back to the Frieza saga here with this one, with just this various Vegeta update. I know we got a Vegeta with crossed arms with that lighter blue look a while ago on display that never has come out. I'm curious if we're ever going to wind up getting that version of him or not, but either way, today we're going to be focusing on this quote-unquote older style battle clothes, where he's more in that darker navy color of blue. So with that, let's just jump right into the images that we did get of Vegeta. First one we have here of him looking off to the side. Really great face plate here. They've really captured the iconic look of Vegeta looking menacingly over to see who's going to be facing. As far as what else you can see here, really bright white armor. It almost feels a little bit too bright white. I'm sure that's relatively reflective of what it looked like in the anime, but either way, has that really white colored chest plate with the navy blue arms and aesthetic to him. As far as the posing here, we can just see him looking like he's putting on his gloves or tightening his gloves with one arm. So not much to see here, just a kind of stoic pose from Vegeta here. Next up, we have that same pose but shot a little bit farther back, so not a whole lot new here. Really just seeing him from the waist down in addition here, so nothing really unique. We do identify that this is clearly another 2.0 mold, so people may be disappointed that we're not getting a 3.0 Vegeta at this point, but they seem to be really trying to capitalize on those 2.0 molds before they ultimately go away in the future, just maximizing however they can use them for now. His shoulders look a little bit weird. They feel like they're really butterflied out, and that may just be how he's posed, but I don't feel like at this point in time Vegeta had really broad shoulders or really large shoulders overall. But overall, it looks like on this photo, his arms look quite large relative to his torso and so forth. I feel like at this point, as I mentioned, Vegeta was still in that more slim look to him, so I don't know if it's just me, but those shoulder caps to him especially look extremely wonky on this Vegeta. So from that, we'll look forward to the next photo. We have one here. Obviously, they're trying their best to reflect things that happened in the show and in the manga, but we have him with his crossed arms, so you can see here the inclusion of crossed arms comes with Vegeta. Obviously, with most characters, especially him, they have that crossed arm inclusion, which, to be honest, is always a nightmare to put on, but they continue to put them out. Hopefully in the future we get a little bit better crossed arms, but either way, for now, we have the standard crossed arms here. We have him with his legs out, just stretching and resting ultimately. We have a closed eyes face here, so here's a new faceplate we have here with his eyes closed, just looking down. I believe this is from when he's waiting on Krillin and so forth outside, and he's just ultimately resting to recover, and this is when Krillin and Gohan are pretty much deceiving him and getting the dragon and trying to make their own wish without Vegeta involved in it. So I believe that's what they're looking for when it comes to this photo. Next one, nothing really crazy with this one. We have, I guess there's one exception here, which is the chest plate. So as you can see in this photo, you see his stomach underneath the armor. So looks like we have a variant of the armor to include there, a little piece to throw on there that is more battle damage. So cool they have that. I know it's not always fun when they have a battle damage version of a character that's a whole new release, so including it here is, I will say, a win for Tamashii when it comes to not requiring all new purchases for a similar look for somebody. So cool to see they have a battle damage look here. Other than that, not much really to call out. He's obviously in a more attacking pose. We have a faceplate of him screaming, so while that's different, I feel like that's one we've gotten in the past. So nothing really unique for this photo beyond that chest plate being broken into. Then we have him with more wide open hands. So at this point, it's pretty standard. You get a Dragon Ball character, you're going to get clenched fists, you're going to get open palms, you're going to get kind of more of those Kamehameha looks. So this is just a variation of those slightly unclenched fists. Him looking really shocked and defeated. I think the call out for this photo specifically obviously would be that faceplate. So you see him, a combination of being very sweaty but also in tears. So really cool addition here. I know I love when they go with unique faceplates and unique customizations for accessories for characters that are specific to the show, that could be a scene that you could set up. Probably when he's fighting Frieza, pretty much gives up against Frieza at that point, saying that, he can't beat him. He thought he was the Super Saiyan. He thought he was destined to defeat Frieza, and at this point he has been defeated and is ultimately giving in and saying, I can't do anything further at this point. So I like the inclusion of this head plate. That's really the big call out, I would say, on this photo. Next up, I'm not really sure why they included this picture. I don't know if they're just running out of variations to throw in there, but we just have Vegeta doing kind of a karate chop hand to Jace, and they're probably once again trying to go for specific scenes that were in the show and in the manga, but I don't think most people are going to be using this pose specifically. I don't think this is anything iconic for anybody. So the ones previously I felt like were more unique. This one's just very generic. You have, as mentioned, the hand chop hand is another one that they really typically throw in there as far as the types of hands to include. So I don't think anyone's really going to be putting them in this pose of hitting Jace like this. I may be wrong, but overall, it's fine. It's similar to the photo a couple photos ago where you have another attacking pose that doesn't do much different, I would say. And then finally, we have a photo of him fighting First Form Frieza. So I know this is one that's also from the show where they're essentially neck and neck with powers and there's just stuff exploding around them. And I think this leads into Frieza going into second form, but this is really where we first learn that, hey, they can match toe-to-toe with Frieza. He's actually not as menacing as we may have thought. So cool representation here of that scene. You have them holding each other's hands essentially with powers that are just, one is not stronger than the other. They're really just pushing each other back. And the extra addition I would say here is that faceplate. I once again like the addition there. You have him with his gritted teeth and veins popping from his forehead. So really angry and really just trying to power up more and just meeting his match against Frieza and doing all he can to overcome that and defeat him. So while there's not much different with this photo, it does represent something you could do from the show and also has another faceplate to represent here. So overall, that's the images that we have gotten for him. As mentioned, this is being called Vegeta Older Style Battle Clothes, which is a really weird name. They always have really unique names. I don't know if this is one that's going to stick with that name, but either way, it's him wearing his armor from the second half of the Namek or Frieza saga. So as far as details on his release, we have a delivery for February of 25. Pre-order start on Friday, June 28th. So really coming up with that one. So if you're interested, definitely head to Premium Bandai, pick this guy up. The $60 price point. I know I talked about this with Pan as far as is it worth it, so we'll take a little bit into depth with that one. I personally don't think it's worth $60. I'm not sure. You compare this to the Saiyan, what they call it, like Royal Blood, Super Saiyan version of him that we got from the Cell Saga, or the Android Saga. I don't know how much more you get with this that's different than that. I mean, you get the chest piece that's broken into, and then, a few different faces. That's really the only difference in my eyes. So I'm not sure. $60 feels like this is a Premium Bandai at premium price more so than really justifiably, hey, they come with these extra bells and whistles that makes that worth it. But at this point, it feels like $60 is kind of becoming the standard, like, bottom of the rung for Premium Bandai. So unfortunately, I'm not sure we should ever expect figures to be on Premium Bandai that are less than 60, maybe 50, but certainly not lower than that. So Obviously, I get that's the point. Premium Bandai, it's premium, so... But I feel like if you're paying a price that aligns with that, maybe include a few more things that could make sense. I'm not sure what all you can include with Vegeta. Maybe some extra accessories that he had from that specific timeline. But either way, I in my opinion, $60 feels a little bit overpriced for what you're getting here. I feel like this is marginally more options than that Royal Blood Vegeta, Super Saiyan Vegeta that we got. So as far as realistic price, I feel like this should more be like in the 45, but that's not going to happen with Premium Bandai. If they're not doing a general release, $60 is pretty much what you can expect here. So either way, obviously make your decision on what makes sense for you. As far as the description, I want to quickly run through that and what they say here. Create scenes from the anime. Obviously, that's what they were going for. Combine this figure with Frieza and the Frieza Pod and Jayce recreated violent battle in the second half of the Frieza saga. So they were definitely going for that look with some of those later photos. We have an exchangeable battle clothes part, so you recreate the armor in its broken state. Obviously, we saw that. And exchangeable face expressions with eyes closed and arms folded to recreate the scene of Vegeta dozing off while awaiting the return of Krillin. And then talks about him having the flood of tears and fear of disappointment using the included facial expression parts. So overall, we have his body. We have 3 extra left and right hands. As I said, that's pretty basic. The extra faces, we have 4 of those. So those are really kind of the cool addition. And then the battle clothes parts, it's a battle damage is a cool addition. Folded arms, I'm not overly excited for with those in general. They are always a nightmare to put on, but they're cool to include either way. So that's generally my thoughts. As that I lean towards probably saying I wouldn't necessarily recommend this guy at this price. If he was a little bit cheaper in a retail release, I would say go for it. But in my opinion, feels a little steep. Cool to finally get a navy blue second half Namek Saga Vegeta. Feels a little bit too late with going the 2.0 body still. So curious to see how well he's going to do, because I know people really like this look of him, but is this enough to purchase him? Have you given us too many Vegetas recently? Curious what you guys think down in the comments below. Please let me know what you're thinking. Are you going to pick this guy up? Or are you thinking pass for now? And I know we have the Comic-Con exclusives coming out soon, so maybe people are more focused on that. We'll have to see. Either way, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to talk to you again soon.